Chair Romani, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Please start.
Can you
the
hear
meeting.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. It's time 3 o'clock. I can't see you. Usually I see you, but I don't.
You can go ahead and start.
Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to the November 13, 2025 regular meeting of the Finance and Risk Management Committee, or FRMC. I am Dita Yamani, Chair of the FRMC representing the City of National City. I am participating in today's meeting remotely under amendments to the Brown Act due to me being at a conference preventing me from participating in person. There is not someone 18 or older in the room with me. We welcome members of the public, community power, staff, and committee members joining us in person at the Port of San Diego boardroom. I now call the meeting to order. Sandra, please call the roll.
Director Insunza,
I'm here.
Vice Chair Suzuki,
Present.
Chair Yamani.
I'm here.
We have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Let us all stand and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. Next, we acknowledge that this meeting is taking place on the land of the original inhabitants of the Greater San Diego region. A land acknowledgement is a critical step toward working with Native communities to create meaningful partnerships and inclusion in the stewardship and protection of their cultural resources and homelands. Let's take a moment to honor the ancestral grounds where the traditional lands of the Kumeyaay. Moving on to our meeting, are there any items to be added, withdrawn, or reordered on the agenda, Madam Secretary?
There are none, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Move on with our non-agenda public comment. We will now take up non-agenda public comments. Any written public comments submitted before the FRMC meeting were emailed to committee members prior to the meeting and will be posted on the website. Madam Secretary, do we have any non-agenda public comment?
We do not, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We will now move on to the consent calendar items 1 and 2. Item 1, approve October 16, 2025 meeting minutes, and item 2, approve 2026 meeting schedule. Do any committee members wish to pull consent calendar items? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment on the consent calendar?
We do not, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Are there any members of the committee would like to make a comment, have a question, or a motion on consent items number 1 and 2?
I move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary, any other comments? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Director Insunza,
Yes.
Vice Chair Suzuki,
Yes.
Chair Yamani.
Yes.
Motion carries, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We will now move on to our regular agenda items. Item 3 is the fiscal year end 2024-25 financial audit. Dr. Eric Washington, Chief Financial Officer, Treasurer, and Kellen Gilbert and Alana Rico with Soren, who are joining us online, will present this item. Ms. Sandra, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do not, Madam Chair.
Okay, I yield to you, Dr. Washington, so we can make a comment after.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, directors. I'm Dr. Eric Washington, Chief Financial Officer and Treasurer at San Diego Community Power. I'm presenting this item, the fiscal year end 2024-2025 financial audit. And as Madam Chair mentioned, we have guests visiting online. Our audit team, they conducted an audit, which is required by the JPA for San Diego Community Power, as well as under Government Code Section 6505. My function as the treasurer is also to function as the auditor for the organization, and then the engagement with the audit team to conduct an independent audit of the financials and the controls at San Diego Community Power. So with that, I will now yield to Mr. Kellen to make that presentation.
Thank you very much. This presentation will be very brief, as it is just a follow-up of the presentation that we provided on October 16th. So if you'll move to the next slide, please. So just a quick reminder of the introductions. As you said, I'm Kellen Gilbert, the lead audit partner at Soren. Alejandra Schaefer is the engagement supervisor, and with me is Alana Rico, the engagement associate. Next slide, please. So following up from our presentation on the 16th, we have since completed the audit and issued the report. And we have issued an unmodified clean audit opinion, which states that in our opinion, the financial statements are free of material misstatement. We also did not note any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in your internal controls over financial reporting. Next slide, please. And again, these are required communications. We went through these on the October 16th meeting, but again, I just want to follow up with these. We also included these in a letter dated October 30th to the board. As noted in note 13, Community Power adopted 3 new GASB statements, 102 through 104, the adoption of which did not have a material effect on the financial statements. We did not propose any audit adjustments to the financial statements, and nor did we identify any significant unusual transactions where there was a lack of authoritative guidance. So again, there was no transactions where we weren't sure what the accounting treatment should be. We did not have any disagreements with management over the scope of our audit. This means that all the information that we requested and is required to complete an audit was provided. All of our questions were answered, and we appreciate management's efforts to make this an efficient and timely audit. And with that, that's the conclusion of this brief update. And if there are any questions over the audit, the presentation, or the financial statements, I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Are there any comments from the directors? So, Madam Secretary, this is a receive and file, correct? So we
That's
would just need a recommendation from the board to receive and file fiscal year end 2024-2025 financial audit.
A public comment only, and you already called it earlier. No, no need to vote on it.
Okay, so this is a receive and file. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we'll now go to item, oh, hold on. Thank you to the Soren Group, and thank you, Dr. Washington, for this early completion of our audit. Thank you and congratulations to us.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to item number 4, Treasurer's Report for period ending August 31st, 2025. Dr. Washington, I yield to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, good evening. For the record, Dr. Eric Washington, Chief Financial Officer, Treasurer. I'm presenting the results for San Diego Community Power year-to-date through our second month into fiscal year end 2026. I would note that we ended the period with a net revenue that came in at 308.7 million, which was slightly below the 318 million that we budgeted for. That was primarily due to lower than expected collection of rates from our ratepayers due to demand as a result of cooler than expected temperatures. We ended the period with operating expenses that offset the under budget of the net revenue by an under budget on the operating expenses that contributed 13.3 million to our net position for the period. We ended the period with a net position year to date of 58 million. I wanted to go back and just briefly talk through the lower than expected operating expenses. So that was primarily driven by two factors. One, the demand was lower for energy, and then also we are partway through a lower energy cost environment year to date. That may or may not play out through future periods throughout the balance of the fiscal year, but that was one of the key drivers behind the lower than expected operating costs. Also, a contributor to that lower than expected cost was a slight reduction in professional service fees and other non-energy costs that contributed to the results. Next slide, please. So this slide is a familiar dashboard where we essentially show the contribution to reserves of 58 million. The total liquidity year to date for the period that includes unrestricted cash and investments with a total of 439.9 million, and then further supported by access to our unused line of credit, or the portion of our uncommitted line of credit, I'll say. We landed at 667 million in access to total liquidity. However, when we look at our reserve goal, where we target specifically the cash contribution, we are 88% to our target for fiscal year 2026. Next slide, please. This slide is a depiction of our reserve build over the trailing 12 months, with the yellow portion of the candlestick being the unused portion of our line of credit, or access to that line of credit. And then the blue portion of the candlestick is the actual unrestricted cash and investments over the trailing 12-month period. There's a slight gray line that runs across horizontally on this slide. I'm not sure if you can see it, but that pretty much earmarks or marks our reserve target for the fiscal period. So this line sort of gives an indication of where we are in terms of the blue portion of our reserve build relative to the target. So we're still not quite at the current target of 180 days cash on hand, but as you'll note in this slide, over the for the past, I'll say 6 months, we've been building up and ended the period with 159 days cash on hand. Next slide, please. So this is just a snapshot that we typically highlight for the Treasurer's report that shows our participation rates. And as you can see, our participation rates have held relatively steady for the past several fiscal reporting cycles. So that's an accomplishment that we should continue to be proud of, that we've been able to retain our customer base. And Madam Chair, I just wanted to circle back briefly on the reserve portion. I wanted to highlight the investments that contributed to that total reserve number. So our investments continues to perform well, even in spite of some of the market activities that have happened as it relates to things that are occurring economically overall. So we ended the period at about 83 million in our investment account. In a future meeting, we intend to bring back to the Finance and Risk Management Committee a quarterly update on our performance as it relates to the portfolio in conjunction with our September year-to-date financial treasurer's report. So, Madam Chair, that concludes my presentation, and I will yield back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Washington. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do not, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Members of the committee, do we have any comments, questions, or any thing to say about this very good report? We're almost there, Dr. Washington.
Yes, Madam Chair, we're working on it.
Yeah, thank you so much for being diligent, most especially being responsible on expenditures. I believe that, you know, I mean, we're getting there with due diligence and effective and responsible way of making sure that this organization runs healthy. Thank you so much, Dr. Washington.
Yes, Madam Chair, you're welcome. I must say, you know, it takes the entire team. So the finance team has played a significant role alongside of our executive team and really the organization overall in being really mindful and frugal of our spending and saving wherever possible so that we can make sure that we have ratepayers top of mind in everything we do. So thank you for the comment, Madam Chair. Back to you.
Thank you, sir. Any comment from our directors? I see and hear none. This is also a recommendation to receive and file treasurer's report for period ending August 31st, 2025. So moving on, are there any committee members, member announcements? I'm looking at you. You're too tiny. No comment? None. So this would end our agenda or our meeting for our agenda, and I appreciate everyone's participation today. The next regular FRMC meeting will be held on Thursday, December 4, 2025 at 3 p.m. at the Port's Administrative Building Boardroom. So by then, thank you all so much. We are adjourned.